Okay, everybody. I promise this is the second half of the corporations and small business entities video that I promised you. It's going to be a little bit shorter because it's only half of the two different sections. This is the second half. And let me turn off the video. Sorry about that. Um, and and really there's not a whole lot to small business enterprises. It kind of business entities. It kind of builds on corporations, and for purposes of the exam, be very careful because uh, corporations material may be on the small business entities exam as well. So be very careful on that. And then I'm going to go ahead and give you another heads up. The all the material is important. All the material is important. I've said that several times during the semester, but I'm going to go ahead and re-emphasize it. So don't skip it. I hate getting these emails, and I got an email. I've got an email several times this semester from a student who said, I don't know why, I thought I knew it really well, and so I'm going over the exam with them, which I don't mind doing, and I've offered to anybody, and they tell me, I go through the thing, and I take a question, and I say, well, this one came from this handout, or this one came from this video. And they said, well, I didn't watch that, or I didn't look at that one. Guys, there's no homework, there's no assignments, you don't have to turn things in. So you've got plenty of time to study all the material. There's like an hour's worth of video every week. There is material to read that might take 30 minutes. I don't know. You've got plenty of time to go over it and study everything, and then take the exam and do very well on it. But hey, your class, your grades with that. Okay, in the background you see that is my law school, Tulane Law School, where I attended law school in New Orleans, and it's a new law school compared to when I attended. We had just an old dump of a place. If anybody saw the John Grisham movie, The Pelican Brief, the library that Julia Roberts was in. Actually, um, I've got a virtual background with her in it. Is the old Tulane Law School law library. It had 7 floors, and little dinky things, cramped as it could be. And I spent many hours in that law library. In fact, I worked there for 2 years as a freshman and a or first year law school student, and a second year law school student. I actually worked there. Um, did the closing shift, which gave you a 50 cent an hour extra bump. And I love that one. 9 o'clock to midnight was perfect for me. It was very quiet. I did a lot of my studying between 9 and midnight on those nights, and would ride the streetcar back home with that. Anyway, um, I enjoy visiting with the Tulane law background with that. Okay, let me go ahead and get started with specific things that I think you need to know on small business enterprises. Let's see, I think I need this one to share. All right, hopefully that's up there, but really there's not a lot in my handwriting that you can see. What's important, knowing the different types of small business enterprises, small business entities, whether it's a sole proprietorship or a general partnership or a limited partnership or a limited liability company or subchapter S corporation, all the different ones, you need to be familiar with them, what they are, kind of the comparisons between them, how you form different ones, which ones provide liability protections, which ones do not, some basic tax differences like we discussed in last section on corporations, be able to calculate some basic tax calculations as well. Again, it's not a tax class, but it's important for you to understand some basics of that as well. How are different small business entities formed? What documents are public? What documents are private? We talked about corporations. We talked about the certificate of formation and the bylaws, and one was private and one was public. And then we move over to limited liability companies and here, and we talk about the same kind of thing. And it's again, certificate of formation and a limited liability company agreement or an LLC agreement or a company agreement. Um, understand what's public and what's private on those things. Pitfalls and issues. I had enjoyed doing a little video on some war stories. What are some concerns that you have with respect to operating your business? And again, part of my job here, in my mind, not necessarily with Jeff State's mind, not necessarily in your mind, but part of my job here is to educate you to the point where you can use this material to understand what law is, what your exposure might be as a business owner or operator of a business, manager of business, whatever, as well as understanding what your rights may be in different circumstances. But specifically, you do need to know things like what is your exposure? How can you be liable in different situations? Can you be liable even though you are a limited liability type entity? And if so, how and why? Understand the examples that I go through. Um, let's see. Oh, this is a continuation. I can't even read my handwriting. It's a continuation with the previous corporate chapter. It builds on it. More questions relate to it. So don't be surprised if there are some questions that spill over and kind of have an overlap with the corporation's kind of thing. So there's more questions with that as well. Everything's important, so make sure you study everything. Got plenty of time to do it. Good luck on the next exam. If there's anything I can do to help you in this class, please let me know. You've got, at this point while you're watching this one, this is the last weekly exam. After this, we're going to have a month off from exams. You're going to have a lot of material to cover in that month, and we'll have 2 more live Zoom classes for you to attend if you want. They will be streamed on the class YouTube channel in the live tab, recorded there so you can see it. But be your last 2 chances to ask me questions or things to address in a public fashion. So you may want to take advantage of that. It's on the class syllabus. It's on the class schedule. It'll be those dates. And then we have the final exam. Final exam, very important, 200 points. And it's worth more than that if you missed an exam. Might be worth 300, might be worth 400. So study hard. You need to be disciplined. By the time we have our first Zoom review session for the first of the 2 review sessions, you should have contracts law down cold or pretty close to it. And there's more contract stuff than employment law, but on the final, I typically split it 50-50. I give you about half contract questions, about half employment law questions. I haven't written the exam yet, but that's what I expect. In any event, that's it. As I said, let me know if there's anything I can do to help you, and I'll see you next time.